Alright, we're back with another video, and today I want to talk about difference between having goals and ultimately the difference between success and failure. So I want to share with you something that I've implemented over the past 6 months to a year, which has significantly helped me, which has probably helped me achieve more in the past 8 months, if we're going to be specifically accurate, than I probably have in the past 6 years, purely based on the fact that it's made me track my goals, measure my success, measure the metrics, set daily targets, hold myself accountable, and actually force myself to create action ultimately. And as some of you may know, last 2018, Jesus, time goes fast, I competed at the back end of the year. And in that time, when I was very lean, there was a point where I had a lot of clarity, because as those who have competed will know, even though there are a lot of challenges with competing, there was a lot of beautiful things that come from it as well. And one of the things that I took from it was this clarity, this direction, this purpose, this motivation of where I needed to go and what I needed to do to get there. And it hit me as a bit of a realization, because I wasn't quite where I wanted to be, and I was in a bit of a sort of no man's land, sort of limbo space where I wasn't really achieving what I wanted to achieve, but at the same time I wasn't not going in the right direction. It was like I needed just a bit of a rejig or a re-energize or a kickstart, if you will. Anyway, a couple of companies that I reached out to within this time of competing, not for, excuse me, not for any other reason that I like these companies and I support them and I like what they do, and I just wanted to reach out and say, hey, I really like what you do, what you're about, and the products that you deliver. And one of those companies was Chobani. Now, Chobani is a very ethical company. You may know them from their yogurts, etc., their dairy, but they are one of the leaders in their industry, because they are trying to show people how they can give back to the community and how they can do things very ethically with the products that they make, etc. And if you want to read more about what they do and how they do it and their ethos, there's a couple of great articles with the CEO and his philosophies, and I respect that greatly. One of the very much good guys in the industry. Anyway, I reached out and just said, hey, look, pretty much, I really like your products, I like what you do. Have you thought about doing some more stuff specific to, athletes and physique athletes and people who are into health? Because, yogurts are obviously pro-health, but perhaps there could be another market here. Anyway, they said, yes, we're actually bringing a product out soon. You should keep an eye out for it. We will let you know, and perhaps, there will be we can collaborate. And I said, well, that's not what I'm after necessarily, but yeah, I'd love to help if I can, if it aligns with my values. Anyway, they sent me a handwritten note, which in and of itself I was impressed with, from a big company. And they sent me like a golden Chobani spoon, because I've obviously been using their products for a long time. Some of you may have seen the post I did with that, and then an FPOS card to be able to actually buy some of this new, we now know as Chobani Fit. And at the end of the year, they sent me this, which is a journal sponsored by Chobani. And this journey is called this diary, this book, if you want, this journal, is called the Best Self Journal. So if we open it up, you can actually see it's the Best Self Journal there. Cool. Now, if you go to the Best Self website, it's designed by, if my memory serves, 2 American entrepreneurs who have, in short, derived all of the most successful traits from people around the world, entrepreneurs, business people alike, which really encompass their daily routines, their rituals, their habits, their successes, their failures, and it condenses them into this system, this organized system, this process, if you will. And within this book, it gets you to do something that you've probably heard of before, which is write down your goals, track the metrics, etc., and create daily, morning routines, evening routines, and so on and so forth. Now, when I received this Chobani said, hey Alex, we know you're very goal driven, we think this might help. And I thought, this is just going to be another diary, I'll give it a go and we'll see what happens. And I've always been a bit, not against journaling or having a diary, but I was always a bit like skeptical about, okay, well, will it really work? What can it do for me, etc. Like, will I be able to stay accountable? It was more of a fear from myself and my own actions, really. And again, going through this comp prep time, I was like, well, something needs to change. If you're going to make this happen, something needs to change. If you want to be a successful coach, if you want to be able to help people, if you are as good as you think you are and you say you are, then you need to go and put your money where your mouth is, and you need to go back and do one-on-one coaching again, which I've done for many years. And before you go and take a space in the online world and do it successfully. And I do love, as people know, I love a good chat. I like talking to people one-on-one. So it was a bit of a no-brainer for me. It was almost that I had to go through all of this other money chasing and all these other jobs on the side, as well as what most people don't know. I've actually always coached people and trained people for over a decade now, but I just wasn't doing the numbers and the volume when I was working in other industries, say hospitality, real estate, phone sales, car sales, food and beverage, you name it. I've done a multitude of things, and all of those things have made me who I am today and continue to do so, because let's face it, there's still a long way to go in this journey, and by no means am I there. I don't think we ever are. We've got to celebrate the wins, but I'm very humble in the fact that I know there's always more to learn. I've made a shit ton of mistakes. I'll make hundreds more, but they're feedback, and it's how we choose to interpret them, and that's how I can perhaps deliver a more premium, more bespoke service and help people reach success, because I can empathize with them, I can break through, and I can communicate what needs to be communicated to these people, because I have spent thousands of hours with hundreds of different types of people, and I'm able to generally, with most people, connect, create rapport, build trust, and then help them and lead them in their own best interest, which is what I'm about doing within my sphere. So anyway, I was in the end of prep, and I was exhausted, as you generally are, and I thought, right, well, this is great, I'm gonna use this, but I'm gonna have I had a little booklet. I was a bit apprehensive. I read through it every night. I read a page a night, because that's all the brain capacity I had left after when you're in comp prep, you get up, you find food, you're trying to find as much food as you can, you eat, you train, and then you do whatever else you've got to do in your job, and you just pretty much suffer the rest of the day. But again, the suffering is as hard as you want to make it. So there's not a lot of brain capacity, you get quite forgetful, and you do weird things, and it's not a place you want to live for a long time. However, that's a video for another time. But from this, I said, right, well, I'll start reading a page a night, and when my comp prep is finished, I'll get started. Not procrastinating, but you need a bit of brain power. We'll start the process. So over the comp prep, I read this sort of, it comes with like a bit of a guide. And I read it, and it sort of explains how, you've probably heard of these journals before, you're probably a bit skeptical, and that was really good, because I was like, yeah, I am. I don't know if this is gonna work, I've written goals down before in the past. Anyway, so I read through it all, and it was quite satisfying the way it laid the concepts and the principles out. Like, it was very realistic, it was very sustainable, and I'm all about that. So when comp prep was over, I written down my goals, and I started an action plan. I reached out to a few people, and I created my 12-week, 13 in these journals, 13-week goals. I now do 12-week, and you create your 12-week goals and your main objectives, and you write down how you're going to get there, what you're going to do, what the consequences are if you don't, why it's going to benefit you, your daily tasks and actions, etc. And all of these things, and it's all in this book. And then you'll do weekly goals and weekly analysis, like weekly habits and routines and rituals, and what were the wins for the week, and the big wins, what were the lessons learned, what are the progress and improvements that you can make, and it goes through all these things, and it's really good. And then you have your daily goals. So I guess if I can give you a bit of an example and show you, because I've actually borrowed this to a few people and they have found it extremely helpful. So if you want to give you an idea of what and then this is just brief, it's fine. You have these big goals here, and you have your result goal, you have your progress goals, so how you're gonna get there, your actions and tasks to make that happen. And you create 3 big goals over these 12 weeks. And you break that down. It's, the commitment that you're gonna make to yourself, like how you're gonna feel when you achieve this goal, what's gonna happen if you do, kind of rewards, and what things are you gonna do to ensure progress. So like, for example, you keep this journal every day and you make sure that you look back on it and you check it for accountability, etc. And then you can organize your calendar, but I already had one at that point, so I didn't use that large like scale calendar, but I used the daily ones, obviously. So in your weekly goals, you have like weekly milestones, which I still do. So you have 3 main objectives for the week. You plan out your sort of day in a diary style fashion, and then you have 5 activities that you want to improve on or that you want to integrate, and you can put how many times a week you want to achieve that, and then you can see like, did I do this on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday? And you can say like, yeah, I did that 5 times, 3 times, 0 times, 2 times, and it helps you out. And then it's got, for example, what's the happiest event that happened this week? So it makes you go back through your week and pick out, oh wow, like, yeah, this happened and this was really enjoyable, and it makes you grateful for that. Gratitude is a very large part of this, which some of you may be aware of how powerful gratitude is. It asks you what the 3 big wins were for the week. I put more sometimes because usually there is, and review and assess your goal, how you can make improvements, what was the biggest lesson learned, etc. And they're the weekly ones. And then you've got the daily ones, so you've got different colors so you can go back and navigate through. And then you've got like you plan your day out, and then your main goal, your targets. You've got a quote for the day, which I still do, which people will see on my social. I put fearless thoughts now, so I quote every day. And then your lessons learned, your wins, and then what you're grateful for. So, what you're grateful for in the morning, what you're grateful for in the evening. And what I've done with that is, and this is what I'd recommend, and you can keep buying these, and it's great, and please support, a great company and a great cause, and they have lots of other resources. But for me, I was like, well, instead of me keeping buying these, I wonder if I can streamline the process and make it my own and drive the principles that really work for me. So I have got many journals now, even in that time. And what I do is I have streamlined the process. So for me, I like a big quote on the left, like my morning gratitude, my 3 main targets, my plan my day, my main bullet points, my lessons learned, my wins, and then my evening gratitude. And then from there, I have the big 12-week reviews, and then the weekly reviews. And that really works for me because it's realistic, it's sustainable, it's achievable, and I can continue to do it over time, and it works. And by extrapolating what your goals are, and then, as you've probably heard before, reverse engineering them, you might be quite surprised at what you can achieve by doing this. And then constantly self-checking every day. And again, it's all of those small little steps every day that equal the big wins that people will see or you will see. And it's like, wow, like how did that tree get there? Well, you know what? It started as a seed or whatever it may be. And it germinated and it grew and it grew and it grew. And it started off as a small plant and a bush, and then it got big. And then, the tree had apples or whatever it is. So everything great starts small. And, I think with the world we live in, we want this instant gratification, we want things now, and it just doesn't happen. The things that are quick to attain are very quickly lost, and the things that you can grow very fast are usually things that will also die very fast. It's almost like Newton's first law, right? For every action, there's an opposite equal reaction. But it's about, taking action figuring out what it is that you want, not focusing on too much, being specific, being purposeful, creating a plan, and then following that plan up daily, with no excuses, and what you do most of the time that counts. Sure, you might not smash it every single day, but you've got to be on the ball, and it's what you do most of the time. You've got to be smashing it most of the time. And all those little wins over time and that momentum, it adds up. And then over time, you've got something that's, wow, grown quite large, and you're building up momentum and success. And you can use any example. You can look at YouTubers. They all started with no followers. Now some people have got millions and billions of followers. You know, the physique, we all started with nothing as a baby. Yes, genetically, some of us more predisposed, but we all started with the same place. And a good example I like to use is poker. I don't play poker, but for example, when you're dealt hands in poker, you're gonna have better hands and worse hands with the cards that you get given. And something to keep in mind is that every hand is capable of winning the game, because it's about the choices that you make with that hand that you're dealt. And we often think in life, if we're dealt a bad hand, then fuck it, we can't win the game, so I'm just gonna make stupid decisions and blow it all anyway. And that's what I see day in and day out. People have always got an excuse. People have always victimized. They're feeling sorry for themselves, you know. And it comes down to, at the end of the day, taking responsibility for your actions, looking at what you're in control of, taking control of what you're in control of, and then making the best of whatever you have, and continually doing that over time and not giving up, making mistakes and going, you know what, this is great learning, and just continuous improvement and growth, because that's what it is at the end of the day. And if you never give up, you can only succeed. So at the end of the day, team, that is the difference between success and failure. In a nutshell, do you want to take action? Do you not want to take action? The choice is yours. So I'm going to wrap that video up here, guys. Hopefully that hope you got something out of that, and I'm sure that if you do put this to use, I'm confident, I know that you will achieve your own successes as well. And at the end of the day, it's all down to you. So sometimes you need to have a look in the mirror and just stop telling yourself the bullshit stories that you are, and you just need to get to work and get to action. And again, it's nothing magic, it's nothing grandiose, it's just these basic things that work day in and day out. Thank you as always for watching, guys. I appreciate your support. If you like the video, comment more down in below if you've got something to say, you want to add some feedback, or you want to see a specific video. And of course, subscribe for more weekly videos, podcasts, cooking to come. And if you're watching this now, the Academy is up, so make sure you head over to fearlesstrainingunited.com, where I will teach you how to become your own trainer and manage your own lifestyle, manage your own calories, and understand all of those principles with training and nutrition, so you can set it up for success. And also training videos galore. You can have me in your pocket as a coach and learn how to do it yourself with unparalleled resources. So, as always, team, until next time, stay fearless.
Sit. Don't you touch it. Don't you touch it. Hey, sit down, you bleeder. No, don't lick me finger.